Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our NFL Week 7 preview between the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Oakland Raiders. Now let's look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with Jacksonville.
If the Jaguars are going to win this game versus Oakland, it's going to fall on the defensive line being able to stop the running game of the Raiders. If they can do that, that's going to put the football more so in Carson Palmer's hands, and that bodes well for a Jaguars secondary. Guys like Chris Brzezinski, Rasheem Mathis, those guys can make interceptions from Palmer, but it all falls on that defensive line being able to put these guys in second and long, third and long situations. And you look at Gabbert on the offensive side of the football, you got to get this guy in a rhythm early. You have to go back to his Missouri days to find things that made him comfortable. Let's go inside the lap and see how they can utilize the choice route to do that.
If the Jaguars want to do a better job of getting Blaine Gabbert in the groove early, throwing the football to back up some of that pressure out the box, they got to take some of the principles that Missouri used when he was there, and that would be the choice route. You see right here we have a base drawing up your choice route. Choice are these two guys. What looks like just a 12-yard comeback, but is more unique than that. It gives the illusion of going upfield, working upfield, then breaking it back. But the key right here, you see you have the empty set. And a lot of times that's going to signify a guy to come once you go empty. And so that's why you just walk out this running back right here. Let's not forget Maurice Jones-Drew is an excellent receiver out of the backfield. He's pretty much running a spot route. And what we call a spot route is just you set up and just make sure the quarterback sees your eyes. You settle down in the spot, and usually that's right over the guard. So if this guy were to come, that's a quick throw right here. You can take those cheap 4 yards all the way down the field. But here's your targets. Here's your choice routes. You see right here, this strong safety is in perfect position to play this. What happens? It brings Gabbert back over here and makes the quick 10-yard throw. So just giving him some of, and this is a cover 3 by the way, but just giving him some basic combo routes to read, some basic coverages to go against, some simple routes to throw, I think Gabbert can have some success in alleviating some of the pressure out of the box, so that way they can throw the football and get Maurice Jones-Drew some more room to run out of the backfield.
Now let's move over to the Raiders in this matchup. In order to beat Jacksonville, their defensive line has to come to play. They only have 4 sacks on the season, and that won't cut it in this league. They have to get pressure. That football will come out early, and that way they could rally up and make the tackle. The Jaguars don't threaten deep down the field. They threaten short to intermediate, so I think you could play Tyvon Branch closer to the line of scrimmage in more of a cover 3 look as opposed to a cover 2. But when you look at the offensive side of the football, Carson Palmer has to protect the ball, and they run a lot of outside zone. So let's go inside the lap to see how they play action off of that outside zone with the passing game.
One staple about the Raiders offense is the outside zone, and naturally when they go to play action pass, they have the same zone action, and the play action pass is usually open for Carson Palmer to find the receiving targets. And here's how they usually have it drawn up. You see, you fake the zone action, the running back comes to the line of scrimmage, attacks, sees no threat, drops off into the flat 5 yards. And the yardage here is actually important because it's the spacing that's needed to be effective. You have the tight end running the over route, 6 yards depth, 8 yards is where he wants to finish his route, then flatten out at 8. You see the fullback going, block that defensive and getting that chip, then missing out 5 yards. The X receiver is pushing up to 14, coming across. This is where the rub is going to happen. So either 1 or 2 of these guys are going to be open because this defender is going to have to make a choice. You have the Z receiver running the post backside. So it's easy reads for Carson Palmer, and it's all about spacing. This is where the action usually is because you have the 8-yard over route, you have the 14-yard dig route, and the natural rub, the natural pick that happens deep down the field is where Carson Palmer would normally go with the football. And then after that, it's all upon those receivers to make big plays after the catch.
A look at offensive coordinator Bob Rakowski being an X factor in this ball game, calling plays to get Gabbert in a rhythm, calling things that he's comfortable with to take advantage of the Raiders defense. And look at the Raiders pass rush. They got to find a way to get pressure on the quarterback. And they also can't forget about the running game because Maurice Jones-Drew is quite possibly one of the best running backs in the NFL. Now let's look at the personnel breakdown in this ball game. You look at where the Jags can have some success. They do have some talented skill players. The offensive line has to do a better job of protecting. The Raiders can be taken advantage of with their own defensive line and their secondary. So the Jags can have some opportunity to go deep down the field. I like the Raiders in this ball game. I like the offensive pieces that they have in place. They're starting to come together, starting to gel. They just have to improve on third down. If they allow the Jags to get them off the field on third downs, this could be a long day for Oakland. But I think their defense will find a way to get pressure on Gabbert and getting the football back for their offense. I also want to give a huge shout out to Jaguar fan forums and Raider fan forums for always showing football game plan support.